Hello, everyone. How's it going today? So, we are finally opening up the floodgates and talking about the MCU.
You don't even know what can of worms you just opened.
Oh, woof. Oh, man. Well, at least we're starting sort of simply with just the first Iron Man.
Just
Wait.
the first Iron Man. Yeah, no, it's probably gonna get more complicated later, especially with the shows and whatnot. But yeah,
At least with Iron Man 1, you can watch it in a pocket and not think of it as anything else.
Yes.
Until the very, very end. But we'll get there. So I remember
Will
when
we though?
it might take a while, but we'll get there. Shit. This came out in around 2008, where comic book movies were still most of them still sucked. You had a couple here and there that were gems, but generally speaking, comic book movies were kind of terrible.
Yeah, no, everybody was still trying to capitalize after X-Men and Spider-Man had such success. You had several attempts to recapture that, and let's just say wasn't working so well.
Yeah, like Ghost Rider, for example.
And I think Fantastic Four movies had come out by then too, right?
Yeah, the two of them. There was a couple of others, like I think Blade Trinity also had come out, which was god awful.
People did not love that.
No, and I mean there were others like Superman Returns was considered terrible. DC really only did like Batman movies for the most part.
Yeah, and people those fell off for a lot of people too.
Until Batman Begins came out, and then they're like, "Oh, Batman's cool again."
Which was around the same time as Iron Man, wasn't it?
Dark Knight and Iron Man came out the same year.
Oh wow, that was the second. Wow, I could have sworn. Wow, I felt like it was later, but yeah, that's crazy.
It was a couple months later, but it was the same year. So
no, I meant like I thought Batman Begins would have been around this time, but I guess yeah, that makes sense. Weird though.
So when I saw the trailer for Iron Man, I was like, "This is gonna fucking suck." That's just where my head went. I was like, "Yeah, all right, whatever."
I don't remember what I thought, honestly.
And then I saw the Rotten Tomato score was like a 94, and I was like, "What?" There ain't no way Iron Man has a 94 on Rotten Tomatoes. So I went and watched it. I understood why it had a 94 on Rotten Tomatoes after that. I want to say this was, at the time, one of my favorite comic book movies.
I believe it.
This and probably Spider-Man 2 at the time, because I was not expecting Iron Man to be good. I don't think anyone was.
Well, I mean, I didn't know much about him at the time. I guess I kind of still don't.
I just kind of, comic book movie stigma. I was like, so this is going to be crap, right? Because also the X-Men movies started to fall apart around this time, too, because X-Men 3 kind of sucked. I don't know if X-Men Origins Wolverine had come out yet.
Let's see.
I can't remember offhand.
Hey, I thought Batman Begins came out later, but it was freaking 2005, so...
Fair.
Oh, wow, no, Origins was 2009, really, wow. It was after this.
Okay, so, X-Men had started to fall apart, because X-Men 3 was kind of crap.
I will defend Last Stand. I don't hate it nearly as much as everybody else does.
There was Ghost Rider, that was bad. Spider-Man 3 was not as good as people had hoped. I'm sure there were others around this point.
Spider-Man 3 is another one. I was disappointed by it when it came out, but I've actually grown to like Spider-Man 3.
Weird.
It happens.
Yeah. What nobody knew at the time was this was building a much larger universe, unseen in cinema at the time.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Who knew this would become the biggest franchise of all time?
Nobody. But we got to talk about the biggest thing that this movie did was reestablish Robert Downey Jr. as like Hollywood's dominant force. Because Jesus Christ.
I think Favreau pushed for that a lot, which made it happen.
And I can't... Robert Downey Jr. is, in my mind, the only person who can ever be Tony Stark.
Yeah, it's not... I mean, if they have any plans to recast him in the MCU, I don't know if it's going to work.
He is to Tony Stark what Hugh Jackman is to Wolverine.
Same thing, and look what they did with that. They're like, "Hey, should we recast Wolverine?"
Nope. Hugh Jackman is bringing back.
Gonna do this till you're 90.
And when I think of Tony Stark, I think of Robert Downey Jr. because it's just so built in my brain at this point. The only other character I think that comes close to that is Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean, when an actor is passionate about a character, it really shows.
I mean, I've liked all the Spider-Man up to this point, but when I think of Spider-Man, I don't immediately think of any one of those three actors like I do with Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, and then you get into animation with Spider-Man too. There's just so many of him.
Yeah, it's just when you think of Iron Man, who do you think of? Fucking Robert Downey Jr. I didn't know John Favreau was.
JJ is the other one. JJ.
Oh, J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah.
Come on, that took you way too long.
Fair. Yeah, J.K. Simmons. Yeah.
J.K. Simmons is JJ. It's just Yep, that's another one.
Of all the people too, one of the side characters, but because we don't have a definitive Batman, we don't have a definitive Superman, we don't have a definitive Spider-Man, but Wolverine and Iron Man, yeah. It's not just him though. The whole cast really gives it their all in this movie, which is funny to me because all the dialogue is improv.
Is it really? Okay,
Yes.
I felt that a few times and I wasn't sure, and I'd never actually heard that, but there are a few times where that crossed my mind.
The scenarios are written in the script, but all the dialogue is just freely done by the actors.
Okay, that does explain a few of the scenes where. Do you remember how when we were talking about Lost World, I said there were those moments where people were talking over each other and it felt like they were trying to be natural, but it was unnatural.
Yes.
This was there were times where people were talking over each other, but it actually did feel natural.
My dog agrees with you, apparently.
Yep, that's what Cloud has to say.
But, well, the difference, too, between this and Lost World is this is a much more competently made movie.
I feel like there was a lot of passion behind it from Robert Downey and Jon Favreau, and just everybody felt like they were like, "Hey, we want this to work."
Well, I think Kevin Feige was the one pushing the whole obviously universe thing. But what's great about Iron Man, and I mentioned this earlier, I mean, you're gonna know nowadays. There's no way to avoid it. But if you just take this movie in a box, it works as a standalone.
And this is why a lot of the earlier movies worked so well, because they did.
Mm-hmm.
This is why when DC tried to copy it, it's like, hey, so maybe don't have every movie rely on every other movie, because that's why it fell apart before it even started.
You have Batman fighting Superman in your second movie,
maybe establish them first. I mean, introducing Hawkeye and Thor is a totally different thing.
Yeah, because he's not a major character, but
and also he's just kind of there. We'll see him later.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm drawing a blank on the actor's name, and it's bothering me. But the guy who plays Obadiah Stane, I cannot remember the actor's name off the top of my head.
Jeff Bridges.
Thank you. He does a great job as a villain.
Yeah, he does. And actually, there's a I know you haven't watched Ironheart yet. There's a throwaway line, which it probably will stay a throwaway line, but that sets up a possibility for Stane to come back.
Oh crap!
It's a throwaway line. I don't know if they actually intend for it to go anywhere, but it was basically they never found his body.
Huh.
So I'm like,
even though the movie very well establishes he falls to a reactor.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, maybe he got vaporized, because that was quite an explosion he was in the middle of.
Yeah, I feel like he was already dead before he fell.
That's hard to say, because I know he got a little electrocuted, but I mean, sometimes that gives you superpowers, Electro.
Yeah, that's true. But we'll get back to that. The only problem I had with it is this is just me knowing comic book characters. I already knew he was the villain, from the beginning. Which, if you don't know comic books, you wouldn't know that. But me already knowing, I was like, oh, so okay, you're Ironmonger. Gotcha.
Yeah, I probably didn't at the time.
But I'll give him that. If you don't know the comic book character, you wouldn't be expecting that plot twist.
No.
The other elephant in the room, and I hate to say this because it's not even his fault, but it's the rest of the series' fault. Terrence Howard.
Yeah, and there's so many conflicting reports on what actually happened with that.
And he does a great job as Rhodey in this movie, but knowing the rest of the series, this just stands out so hard in my head.
No, this and Ed Norton, yeah. The recasts, I hate them. I just when they're unnecessary, I hate them.
Yeah. We can't recast Black Panther though. No.
Oh my, yeah, no, getting Harrison Ford in, but not, yeah, nope, can't with that.
No, but
that's much later.
Too, this movie does the whole redemption story of one guy a lot better than most movies, because I actually buy Tony Stark trying to make himself a better guy.
Yeah, no, it all works out, because I mean, at the beginning he's aloof, he's snarky, but he's hard to hate, even though he's kind of a dick.
But he's just so charismatic and charming. I mean, that's Tony Stark. That's just who he is.
And you really needed Robert Downey to pull that off, because it.
I mean, like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man is just one of those perfect castings you just don't see anymore. And wow. But when he found out, go ahead.
You buy his transformation because he was stuck in that cave for 3 months, and then you find out like he really was trying to protect people. To see his weapons killing people that he was trying to protect is just like, yeah, and being stuck around that for 3 months and then having to murder your way out, it's gonna change you a bit.
Well, that's something I like about Iron Man compared to a lot of other superheroes is after he, fully gets the Mark III Iron Man suit and he goes back there, he's like, no, I'm not knocking you guys out. You're going to die.
Yes, and they don't even address it, and honestly, I really love that about the MCU. It's just like, yes, the bad guys who are doing really, really bad things. Like
sometimes they have to die.
Batman, take notes. I'm just saying.
No, because Iron Man, I'm not sure about Captain America, but I don't like Iron Man and Thor at the very least. Will kill somebody if they have to.
Yeah, and obviously Wolverine will too.
Wolverine. I'm just talking about initial MCU roster.
I'm just talking about all of the comic books.
Oh, Wolverine just kills people. Like,
yeah, no, but there's a lot of comic book characters who explicitly do not, and it's like,
Spider-Man usually doesn't, but he will if he has no choice.
And he easily could.
Yeah, but he tries not to. Batman just won't.
And it's especially with Joker, that is just so annoying.
But there are most characters would be like, nope, you know what? You have to die. And Iron Man, first movie, he's like, oh yeah, you guys are using my weapons to kill people. Guess what? Boom, 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 boom. You're dead.
But people did get really mad when Batman started killing people in the Snyderverse. But they didn't care when he killed back in the original '89 movie. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah, whatever. Moving on. Moving back to this. Still comic books. Kind of on topic.
Yeah. I did like the part when he made his second suit and he was just like going for a joyride like it was the time of his life.
So he came so close to dying, but then again, he did survive that first fall with the Mark I, which he definitely shouldn't have.
No.
So maybe he would have been okay, but no, that second almost plummet was more comparable to Rhodey's fall later.
This movie is a lot funnier than it has any right to be. Like some of the jokes genuinely made me laugh,
and they're quick too. Like they don't stick around and linger. They just like, hey, yeah, that was a joke. Moving on.
Like when he's first learning how to use the suit, he just flies backwards and crashes. Like, huh.
Yep.
And most of the humor comes from Robert Downey Jr.
That is true.
And I don't know if Tony Stark is actually like such a sarcastic dickbag in the comics, but Robert Downey Jr. is, and it works.
Yes, it does.
How'd you feel about Pepper Potts in this one?
I've always been a bit back and forth. I feel like Gwyneth Paltrow's trying her best, and I don't dislike the character, but there's just sometimes Pepper feels a little off.
I think I like her more as the assistant than I do the girlfriend. But
I think honestly, I appreciate that they didn't jump straight to that in this movie. Like nothing happens until later.
Yeah, it takes a little bit.
It takes at least 2 movies.
I think the only girl he has any sort of situationship with is that reporter at the beginning of the movie.
Christine Everhart.
Yes. And he even laughs when they fall off the bed.
That laugh has always been every time. It's just the perfect laugh.
And also, Stan Lee as Hugh Hefner is an incredible cameo.
You look great, Hugh. Sorry.
It was amazing. Jon Favreau. I forgot how little Happy Hogan was actually in this movie.
Yeah, he really is barely in it, but he was busy. He had to direct.
Fair. I also like how they sort of very kinda go into Tony Stark's drinking problem a little bit. It's more prevalent in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, but I mean, Iron Man 2, they sort of took his drinking problem and made it something else.
Yeah, because I think they're referencing the demon in the bottle storyline in that movie. But there's a little bit of a tie in there, so that's neat. Also another thing that bugs me. When you see Howard Stark, like the pictures of Howard Stark, that is not the actor for the rest of the movies.
Yeah, no, he's actually been recast a few times because
I think there's 3 people who play Howard Stark in the MCU.
At least.
Because you have the guy in this movie who's only in pictures, John Slattery, who was the main Howard Stark, and then whoever plays him in Captain America in the past, who actually kind of looks like Tony Stark. I don't know why Howard Stark has so many actors, but here we are.
They just couldn't make up their mind.
There's a lot of recasting in the MCU. If you really think about it.
With this many actors, I guess it's kind of hard to avoid.
Yeah, it's a big universe for sure.
You mentioned those pictures that Howard Stark was in. So the de-aging thing was sort of done in the first movie. It's just pictures instead of.
They've been doing it since the beginning.
Because I don't think those were real pictures of Robert Downey Jr.
That would be insane if they were. How old is Tony Stark in this movie?
Oh, I have no idea whatsoever.
I want to say his 40s.
That feels right, but you never know. I whenever I look back at some older movies, and it's like, what do you mean they were 30-something in that? I'm 30-something. This feels wrong.
Well, I think he was in his 50s at the end. I don't want to spoil that yet. Never mind. But
spoil.
As if not everybody fucking knows at this point, but we haven't talked about that movie yet, so I don't know. I have to look it up. Who else do we need to talk about that's in this? I guess we can't. There's something too that a lot of movies do nowadays. And I think this movie started it. The POV camera shot behind the mask. A lot of movies do that nowadays, and I don't know how I feel about it still.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was. I feel like it was established here, and apparently it's kind of a tricky thing to do. But it does add something to it.
Yeah, no, it lets you actually see the emotion of the character, as opposed.
That's always the problem with when characters are wearing masks. They always try to find ways around them wearing the mask, and I feel like having him still be wearing the mask, but us be able to see him at the same time.
I think that's the best way to go about it, rather than, oh, hey, look, I'm fighting somebody with my mask off. Everybody can see me. Ha 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 ha.
Yep. Which, yeah.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2, let me take my mask off for a train of a bunch of people.
Oh, I didn't even talk about Pepper taking out the trash.
Is there anything else? Dude. I love how the reporter was trying to, like, own Pepper Potts there, and she was just like, anything else? Didn't care. Didn't phase her.
Yep. So, it's stuff like that makes me like Pepper, to your earlier question.
And going back a little bit, dude, the part where he's, like, building his first suit with...
Jensen.
I wanted to say Yen Sid, but that's not right.
It's Yinsen, but I know they say it so fast, but it's Yinsen.
Dude, I actually bought their brief friendship. Like
again, 3 months stuck together, working on a life or death scenario that is ultimately a death scenario, no matter what they do, and they know that. Yeah, that's
felt real.
No, Jensen's great, and he influences Tony's entire character arc, not just through this movie, but the whole series.
Yeah, he does. Like, if Tony hadn't met this guy, he probably would never become Iron Man. So,
well, he would have been dead.
Yes. Or you can go by What If, where Killmonger saves him, but whatever.
Oh, you actually watched What If?
No, I just know about that one.
Oh, come on. Gee, man, you got to start watching these shows eventually.
I'll get to it. We have to review them. But
Okay, so in 5 years then.
Yeah, exactly. God fucking damn it! I'll be in close to like 40s by then. I also like how they called the terrorist group the Ten Rings as a slight Easter egg reference to the Mandarin.
My God, yeah, it feels like so. We'll get to that, maybe, kind of, a little bit. Maybe not in this movie series. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it in like, I don't know, 10, 20 years in another franchise series.
Yeah,
it's not even a series yet because they don't really get to it until Shang-Chi, and
that's not till after Avengers Endgame. So like, oh boy,
yeah. But hey, it was a cool reference.
Yeah, it was. I also like how the original Iron Man suit was basically just a hunk of junk, but it got him out of there.
Just built in a cave with a box of scraps.
I'm not Tony Stark.
No, it's cool. It's that main suit just being mostly practical. It's actually, that one is the one suit where it's super obvious when it's not practical.
You can see his eyes through the helmet, which is neat.
Bad protective decision though.
How he doesn't get shot through the eye is beyond me at any point.
The same reason they don't shoot Captain America's legs.
Bro, there was a scene where like someone deflects a bullet off of the helmet and hits the guy in the head, but there's no bullet hole because it's a PG-13 movie. I just thought that was funny.
Yes, I always think about that, but the moment lands. Again, really quick joke that doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Taserface. What? I didn't say anything.
That fucking movie. Different video for a different day. When Obadiah finally becomes Ironmonger, the final fight was all right.
Yeah, it always felt a bit rushed to me, but it's cool. On the freeway is really cool. The moment he grabs a motorcycle and smacks him with it.
Well, I do like how there's no like it was a pretty even back and forth. Like there was times where Tony was in the winning, and then Obadiah was winning. It was pretty cut and dry. Not cut and dry, but it was pretty even keel for the most part. Unlike, say, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where Liu Kang's just losing until he's not anymore.
Well, to be fair, that's usually how it goes. Dragon Ball. Just saying, like, it happens a lot.
It does, and it's irritating. But this also starts a trend in the MCU where the hero does not kill the villain. Someone else does.
Oh, yeah. That is a thing, isn't it?
Happens a lot in the MCU, actually.
It happens in Iron Man 2 as well. It happens, yeah, Iron Man 3. Wow. Okay, yeah, no, it happens a lot.
Not really in Iron Man 2, but definitely Iron Man 3.
Iron Man, he doesn't, he kills himself. Iron Man 3, Pepper again. Pepper kills 2 of the 3 main villains.
Make it make sense.
It's funny.
It's just a thing, and he didn't even try. He was like, "Oh yeah, I am Iron Man. What's up?" Didn't even
again. That drops the secret identity thing for the whole series, except for, I mean, really up until Spider-Man. There's no secret identities.
Spider-Man's basically the only one.
And I mean, just like the yes, bad guys die thing. That was, I think, a good change.
Yeah, at this point, it's just like whatever. There's no reason. Unless you're a teenager, then, fucking why not? Sure, I'm Iron Man.
It's not like he didn't have much to lose. He didn't really care about his reputation so much, so...
Thor doesn't even have another identity. He's just like, yeah, I'm a god.
No, but they do they throw in the name, though. That would have been his alter ego.
Yes, they do. But we'll get to that when we talk about Thor. And we cannot talk about the post-credits scene, because this started a trend in Hollywood that's still going on.
And that people who work at theaters really, really hate.
And not every fucking movie needs a post-credits scene.
That's it. Well, they hate it because people will still sit through the movie's credits, even when there isn't one, just in case there is one. And that's
why I always Google it.
No, I did. Actually, I learned to not Google it before watching the movie, because half the time I'll read like just 2 words that spoil it. And I'm like, okay, I'll wait until the movie's credits start, then I'll Google it.
That's when I do it, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why people don't do that. They just sit through the credits no matter what. And it's not like this is the first movie to do it. It's just the one that made it popular.
Yeah, now, good. Well, it wasn't very often before Iron Man. I mean, it would happen here and there, But
no, but I mean, could you imagine sitting back when it really wasn't a thing, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and then suddenly the main character starts talking to you?
You'd be like, what?
What is happening? This isn't right.
Yeah, it would be strange.
Anyways, yes, the post-credit scene becomes very important later.
Yeah, this was the scene in this movie that blew basically everyone's mind. I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. What?
And also, what is Sam Jackson doing here?
Oh, man. Yeah, if this movie had bombed, that would have gone nowhere.
Yeah, that would have. Actually, considering that Iron Man wasn't really popular and, people didn't really know what to expect from this, it's crazy that it didn't bomb.
I think it made $600 million?
All I know, it was enough to start a franchise.
Which seems low for MCU now because...
Well, maybe not MCU now is lucky to get $600 million.
Yeah.
MCU a few years ago, yeah, it was $1 billion every movie.
Which is crazy. But
welcome to the MCU. You're starting at a bit of a low point.
This movie starts what we now know as Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 1.
Which is very conservative compared to the rest.
Phase 2 is about the same amount of movies.
That's true. Okay, so Phase 3 is when it starts getting insane.
Phase 3 onward is when it just...
And then Phase 4 and 5, people don't even know when they start and end because they don't make sense when they start and end.
No, they don't. Oh my god!
There was a lull. He didn't like it.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is super important. Calling back to last week, the main guy asking for the Jericho missile was very briefly an Independence Day. Just a small thing.
That's wow. Fuck. I must have missed that.
Oh, yeah, no, it was very, very brief. Yeah, when we were watching that last week, I'm like, hey, he's an Iron Man. And then you said Iron
Man. Full circle moment. Here we are.
Yep. And that's it.
Yeah. That's all I got for this one. The floodgates have opened.
Why did you do this?
It was time. We're 4 seasons into the show. It was time.
Yeah.
We haven't done as many comic book movies as I expected us to do on this show. But
if you didn't want to just go through the MCU in order, I would have probably just picked some random ones that stood out to me.
But we're doing the MCU in order.
All right. Well, see you in 5 years if we ever finish this, because it's still going.
Fair. Well, Cody, what do we have next time, my friend?
Well, I said I wanted to talk about it later. It's later, and we're going to do Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Excellent. I have never seen this movie.
My God, why have you not seen movies?
Well, that's going to change. I will watch it.
Well, good. I mean, I understand why you didn't see it in theaters, because this movie did bomb, but it is one of the most successful bombs of all time, because it is grown to be very beloved.
Well, I'm sure I'm in for a wonderful time then.
I hope so. If not, I'm sorry. Objectively, you're wrong this time. If you don't,
I have no soul.
Pretty much. I will be so confused if you don't like this. Video games, comics, it's all those things come together in this movie in a big way. And it's like, if you don't, how could you not like it? Whatever. We'll see.
Well, next time we meet, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Thank you guys so much for listening to us this week. And we'll see you next week, hopefully with less woofs.